Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 pro cast. And as far as the best of the best goes here, we have got what should be a great match in the top left. It's going to be Oliveira, formerly known as Time, the previous year's IEM champion, and taking on Oliveira. It's going to be the best player in the world. It's Serral. If you haven't heard of Serral, you have been living under a Starcraft rock. That's for sure. Yeah, very excited to watch this match. It is a replay from DreamHack. I watched some of the matches, but I unfortunately can't watch 3 Starcraft streams at a time for an entire weekend. Although I did try my best. I was watching some of the series with a couple tabs open. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Let's go for 20 likes on this video. And then subscribe if you're not. I post StarCraft content pretty darn regularly on this channel if you enjoy laid-back commentary. And, yeah, leave a comment down below if you do want to see more of these, more Serral games or more Oliveira games, as that does help with the YouTube algorithm. And now we shall see where this is going to go, as we do have a normal opening from both these players, as there is a command center going up versus a hatchery going up. SCV driving around, going to be going for a scout to check for an early pool or for some roach shenanigans out of Serral, basically just to confirm the timings. I do this I do this every game that I play Terran, as you just want to know that the timings are normal and that you can just proceed as planned, as it saves you a lot of worry. The last thing you want as a Terran is to have 6 lings show up at your natural or a couple of roaches. Not that Ravager rushes are too common in pro play anymore. We do have couple of lings out for Serral, going to be microing against this Reaper. One of the things that makes Oliveira a really fun player to watch is just how fast he is. He's incredibly fast. And so we'll see Serral have to work hard to micro these lings against this Reaper. A lot of bruised units so far, but nothing killed, and that is exactly what you want as the Zerg. The Reaper comes back on in. That Creep Tumor vulnerable. The first shot hits the Queen, however, so it doesn't quite go down. Oliveira wants it. He almost gets it so darn close. And you might be saying, why is he trying so hard? Why is this nerd getting so sweaty trying to get a single free Creep Tumor? Well, creep is darn important for them Zergs, as it, we'll see in a few minutes as Serral gets his creep spread going. It gives Zerg control of the map. As I say, them Zergs. It's important for these Zergs, Serral. And we see a couple more tumors getting dropped, spreading that on out. We do have a fast third command center coming out of Oliveira, followed up by a couple of Hellions to give the Terran that early game map control. Serral is going for a Roach Warren. There's nothing that has tipped him off per se for this. However, it's a safe play against someone like Oliveira, who could very well go into some sort of timing attack. Having the Roach Warren gives Serral that little bit of muscle that he wants. More and more of these tumors getting pushed out by Serral. He's got lots of queens on the way. He is the best defensive player in the world by far. Other Zergs have tried to replicate his style, but Serral's incredibly hard to kill, so we're going to have to see Oliveira go for pressure at some point in this game. And how he's going to go for that is off the back of 3 CCs. So for now, he's going for a Banshee, some more of those Hellions on the way. This is a very classic Terran build. Serral's making 3 Roaches. This is like the perfect middle-of-the-road safety amount of Roaches to keep yourself safe from early pressure. Overlord does dive on in, or swim in, as fast as it could before it disintegrates into pieces. As Serral sees that third command center, so he knows exactly what he's up against. He even sees the Starport Research and Cloak on that Banshee. So he's going to get a lair, probably start spores in 10-20 seconds here if I had to guess. As Serral knows his timings very well, as he continues on with that creep spread. Nothing's really died this game. Literally nothing except that one Overlord. So Oliveira yet to find any damage, but that's to be expected against someone like Serral, as Serral's not going to give out free units or things like that for Oliveira to kill. And so Oliveira is actually very wise not to be throwing away stuff to try and get damage done when it clearly won't. We do have a high Hellion count. 8 Hellions is a very high amount for Terran. Well, it's 2 more than the 6. So a big commitment to the Hellions from Oliveira. He's getting up a couple of extra racks, and by gosh, a 4th command center is already on the way for the Terrans. So Oliveira is planning on going long here. He's almost trying to trick Serral a little bit by showing 8 Hellions. Serral's going to be going, are you going aggressive on me? How's this looking? In fact, Oliveira is just pivoting towards heavy macro play. 2 Banshees do come on in. They're able to get, so far, 2 drone kills. Serral's going to be okay with that as long as he doesn't lose too much more. So these Banshees are looking for more. However, Serral's a very good Zerg, so there's no drones transferring between. This Oliveira stops microing those Banshees for a second. He's actually going to get a Queen, which is a nice pick-off. The Banshees are very low on HP, though, so he's got to be careful. Going to try and get 1 or 2 more drones on the way out the door, and he does. All the while, one Marine is shooting away on this Overseer, but once again, Serral getting the information he needs. He identifies that it is a 4th command center for the Terran. He's going, wait a second, Terrans aren't supposed to have 6-minute 4th bases. Well, that's what Oliveira is doing this game. He is just going hard into the macro, so as a result, we see Serral. He's not making any units. He says, all right, I'll get up to my 90, 100 drone mark. Probably going to have a fifth hatchery on the way sometime soon, I imagine. A great Evo block, stopping those Hellions from diving into the natural for Oliveira. And Serral is still just defending with just a handful of roaches for now. He does, however, have a Bane Nest on the way, 1-1 for those melee units coming out, as that will really help him transition here, as he will move away from the roaches as time goes on. That 4th command center going to be getting set up. We'll see if it's going to be an orbital or a planetary. I imagine a planetary. I mean, as I say that, it's already started. But yeah, you don't want to try and risk 4 orbitals against someone like Serral, because harassment will be coming. That's why we see these 2 Banshees just hanging out here for Oliveira. They are going to get repaired. We'll see if they are moved out after that. For now, though, Oliveira's starting to move out. Army supply is even. And yeah, Hellions being brought into the fight. They can transform into Hellbats, as tanks and Marines are going to be looking to push Serral's 4th base. There's a good chunk, a good count of Roach Ravager here for the Zerg. The tanks are not sieged, so Oliveira can dodge those Corrosive Vials easily, but for now he's actually just going to retreat. He's a little bit afraid of overcommitting, and that very well could be the right call, as, yeah, he just doesn't have that much supply. He's worried about taking a bad fight, then Serral leaning on the R key and making another 30 roaches to go kill him. So once again, Oliveira is playing this very mature. Like, he sat down and thought about how to beat Serral potentially, as he knows that just throwing away units isn't the way to do it, so he's being conservative, taking his wins where he can get them. He's now moving out, going to be clearing some of this creep, get a tumor or 2, but then have to evacuate with those Medivacs and Marines. Serral does lack anti-air besides the Queens for now, however, Vipers are on the way. They'll be able to toss out parasitic bombs onto the Medivacs. They'll be able to abduct to Blinding Cloud. 8 drones do go down, so that is 13 in total. Serral's lost this game. Not a significant amount, honestly, seeing as how Serral's on 96 workers. He's got more money than the National Bank, as a Hydra Den's on the way, Vipers are on the way. He is teching up very happily. These Banshees are working away on this hatchery. We'll see if they're able to kill it. Oliveira is starting to put the pressure on as he cleans some more creep. He's trying to push that creep back as much as possible, and he does force the cancel on that hatchery. Serral immediately starts it again. The Banshees are still there, though, so it's not happening. That's a funny little dance there. Oliveira didn't kill the drones. Serral's like, did he leave? Can I just start that again? Marines are stimming on in. Gonna be shutting down another base of Serral's. We see him cancel that, immediately start it again, playing as efficiently as he can. one of those Banshees does get picked off by a Queen. We see Serral's Baneling count starting to go up and up. 37 Banes are out. That is like a magic eraser tool when it comes to crashing into Terran armies. You will trade out with the Banelings, as long as you don't take like a terrible fight into siege tanks. And that's the play that Serral's building up for here. He's got out a good number of Banelings. He's got an economy, though, that's going to be able to make a lot more. We see this base get canceled by Oliveira once more. There's that blinding parasitic bomb on the Banshee, however, so that will go down. All the Marines are killed. And Oliveira does cancel the base once more. He is playing this game trying to keep Serral on 5 bases. Well, he's already got his own 5th ready to transfer over when it's convenient. Serral with a nice burrowed ling at that location. Nothing burrowed at this base yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he segments one off for that. Serral is setting up for a potential attack. While he is the best late game Zerg, that doesn't mean he necessarily wants to give Oliveira the time of day. So we'll see if he's going to go for an attack or not. If he can find one, he definitely will. We are seeing Oliveira get incredibly defensive with a planetary on the high ground, turrets, a sensor tower, more orbitals going up as he floats over his 5th base. He is just locked down. Look at this base. This is ridiculous. There's 4 Widow Mines, 2 tanks, a Liberator, and 4 turrets. That is just ridiculous. So Oliveira is saying, all right, if you want to attack on into me, it's going to cost you a lot. We are seeing him just quickly throw up static defense. This is when Terran is vulnerable, trying to expand out and take another base. So that is potentially a weak spot for him. So we'll see if Serral tries to capitalize on it. All the while, Serral is getting out a Nidus Worm. So he's planning his methods of breaking Oliveira. Sorry, one sec. Apologies for that short pause there. As we have now got Neural Parasite on the way for Serral. So he's getting all that Zerg tech, and all of a sudden, oh boy, here we see it. The first attack of many as in go the Banelings crashing on in, trying to stop the Terran, securing up this 5th base. Oliveira is peeling back with his ghost count. That's just starting to get off the ground. However, Serral did commit far off of creep there. And if we look at the resources lost, that was a pretty good fight for the Terran. He lost some Marines, a couple of tanks in that. However, the losses weren't too major. Oliveira does need to sandbag this, though, so he's throwing up just more orbital commands and more turrets, another sensor tower to lock this location down. I'd love to see some more tanks and mines get repositioned up here. He does still have a couple of tanks at the very back. These could be shuffled forward now. We are seeing Serral take pretty much the entire map that's not in these rings that belong to Oliveira. Okay, Spire on the way. We see Oliveira going for some harassment, so he's not just going to sit back and take damage. He's saying, hey, Serral, I think you're in my neighborhood. Serral, though not wasting any time, is going to go for an attack, realizing Oliveira's attentions are focused elsewhere. Those Banelings rolling around that planetary, killing all the SCVs there. The PF is still alive. A fast repair isn't enough to save it. It looks like it is as Ghosts come on in, snipe the remaining Roaches and Ravagers, and Oliveira is seemingly able to come out ahead in that trade. Keeping the planetary alive is very important. For stabilizing, he is going to have to really focus on his defense here, though I'd love to see these 2 tanks be shuffled a little bit forward, because it's not possible for them to fight, really, before... Serral would have to break one of the other bases before they're useful there, so I'd love to see those get moved. Oliveira and Serral are both doing a million things here, though, as we pull up that APM, both cruising over 400, which is just nuts. Nidus is all over the place for Serral. He wants to be able to attack Oliveira left, right, and center. He's even taken this base towards the north there. As long as he's got a hatchery on it, Oliveira will not have it. Oliveira is on 80 workers to Serral's 88. Serral's gas bank isn't that impressive, as he has invested in a boatload of tech. So we pull up that army cost. They're both pretty even. A little bit more gas heavy for Oliveira. But the Zerg throws away lots of gas in the Banelings, which is natural. This base does go down as Oliveira, still abusing Serral's lack of air units that can pursue medivacs easily. However, the Hydra count, the Baneling count is now there, so we can potentially see Lurkers. Even a Greater Spire on the way, and a nuke on the way for Oliveira. As these guys are just getting so much tech. This game is so darn quick. Oliveira comes on in once again. He's going to start attacking this base, forces the cancel, loads into the medivacs, but there's the Viper abducts. And Oliveira got burned there as he got a little too comfortable going for unpunished drops. He's going for some Liberator harassment now. He does have advanced ballistics, so it does take a Corruptor or a Ravager to actually deal with this. This is something that's really fallen out of fashion, is advanced ballistic Liberator harassment. But Serral, no Corruptors yet. He actually cannot mine from this base until he makes one of those. It's Oliveira just being as much of a pain as possible. We see a Nidus in the top left. Serral says I need at least 2 on deck in each location, as he's now actually mining from the space south of Oliveira. Oliveira isn't really aware of this. But yeah, look at this. Serral really making an effort here to mine from these bases, both of which are actually supposed to be Oliveira's. So while Oliveira is a player that he's playing a lot more efficient, but he needs to get up at least one of these bases to stay in this game. We're seeing some counter nuke harassment go down, and that base isn't going to get nuked by that ghost who's just hanging out invisible. Overseer does find it. The nuke does get off, kills some larvae, kills a couple drones, but nothing significant. It looks like, I'm guessing, a Viper abducted that Liberator to kill it off. The Terran player is still holding on to this location. He wants to start mining towards this northern base, and it's very important that he does. But look at this, Serral getting up static defense, taking this location over, and the longer he mines from it, the worse this is going to be for Oliveira. He's already taken money out of Oliveira's pocket in the long run, and if he can mine, say, even half that base, that would be absolutely huge, and he's on track for it. Oliveira could have harassed it earlier, but he did not, and now he's going to be looking to go for some big old Liberator harassment. There is Spore Crawlers in position, though, so at least one of these Liberators is out of range of that, so he can deny the mining on that base, which is oh so critical for him, although the gas still being mined, which is arguably more important. We see more turrets going up, more nukes on the way for Oliveira, as he's got some Liberators flying around, harassing as much as possible. I imagine Serral will have the Vipers coming on in to help deal with this, though. And there's the Hydra's Queens, there's the Vipers in tow, so those will perish. And yeah, I hope my observing for this game is okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we do actually have a bit of a lull in the action, as I am always trying to improve on that, so feedback is welcome. Oliveira drops the mass scans. If you look on that mini-map there, you see 6 scans get dropped. That's what happens when a Terran has 7 orbital commands that have been building energy all game. Oliveira should be dropping the Mule Hammer as soon as he gets this base up. Lots of turrets are building. They will reveal this Infestor, who's hanging out, being a little suspicious. Serral, though, still happily mining on this base. Oliveira's scanning that. He's like, oh, that's not good. That's supposed to be my base. At least a tank, and oh, actually a nuke. That's very clever. However, Vipers can potentially abduct that ghost. No Overseer is present, though, so that abduct will not happen. The drones have to evacuate. So Oliveira is spending money to nuke this hatchery to stop Serral from taking this base, which is a little bit scary of a concept as a Terran. Oliveira is now having to kite back against the Banelings. Serral is going to crash on in and break this planetary, and I think he will get it. 14 SCVs as well with it. As far as army trades go, that wasn't bad for Oliveira. He immediately pivots his orbital, throws up another command center, more static defense. And now he's going for some counter harassment. However, Serral is more then set up to defend against this Liberator space in the wrong way for Hydras to potentially deal with them. Oliveira is looking to get a bit of a push off, and if Serral is focused and more on the harassment, more on hitting the bases, all of a sudden he can be vulnerable to an attack like this. So we see Oliveira come on in. He's going to blanket that Zerg force with snipes. A couple Banelings do hit those ghosts. However, they do actually take a few Banes to be killed. So a big attack from Oliveira, and all of a sudden he did a great move, pulling Serral's attention away from that base. And as a result, good damage for Oliveira. Serral's a little bit scared of going for this attack. However, he does realize that this base is undefended, so it's going to lift off. Oliveira has to abandon that position. So we're looking at a bit of a base for a base scenario, which is arguably better for Serral, as Oliveira's floating a base over here. However, the minerals are pretty much all already gone, and Serral's still happily mining from this southern location. Whereas... And now Oliveira is not even mining from this base, which is really darn important. In the long run of things, both players have got pretty good incomes, pretty good banks still, so it'll be like at least another 5-10 minutes before it becomes really problematic for either side. It's actually kind of nuts how much these players are trading out against each other, as now Serral is all over the place, as he's just getting ready potentially for another big attack. His Baneling count is looking big, 33. As Lings run on in, try and get some tanks. Corruptors are now being used against Liberators. As a result, we see Oliveira starting to make some Vikings to help deal with those Corruptors, and it's very darn important. The Ghosts, where are the Ghosts? They are hanging back. They could definitely get some snipes off on those Corruptors if the opportunity arises. We see another planetary going up. It's going to be this location here, so Oliveira can start to mine this location, but he really needs to do something. Deny Serral this base. The nuke is a really cute play, so that's potentially going to get off as Serral... Yeah, we'll just have to pull the drones away from that location. He's going to try and kill the ghost before it gets off, and there is actually detection thanks to that Spore Crawler, so the nuke doesn't land. Bold play by Serral to leave it up to that timing. However, the best in the world is able to make timings like that. We see a couple tanks actually get abducted by Vipers to kill the tanks with Queens, and Queens aren't very good against siege tanks, but when there's enough of them and they're right in the face, it kind of works. We see a Marauder get dropped down here. The nuke is going to get off, and so this base's mining is being denied a little bit, and this could be a way for Oliveira to start taking money from Serral's pocket if he can eventually take this base to free it up while also mining this location. That would be good for him. He's also still playing a lot more efficient than Serral. Resources lost is in favor for the Terran by quite a ways. Changelings that have to be manually right-clicked on to be killed. It's a bit of a pain. Serral's morphing more Banelings. He's got a ton of Adrenal Glands Lings that deal lots of damage, so this planetary could actually be very vulnerable, and it is very vulnerable. There's only a couple of Widow Mines here, some Liberators that are off position to defend against this, so the mines do actually get some pretty big connections. However, in go the Lings, in go the Banelings, so once again, we're seeing a bit of a base for a base. Widow Mine trying to hit a Zergling or two. Does it get the shot off? Looks like it will kill. Oh my gosh, just one Ling. I don't know if Serral intentionally split that or not, but he is good at avoiding those Widow Mines. In goes this Bio, gonna deny this base. So the base for the base trade really continuing on as Oliveira using his Liberators to zone out the Banes, the Hydras, and then the Ghosts can punish with the Snipes. However, it's still very scary because Serral can't always pull that trigger for a big fight. The Ghost count is high, but it's not massively high. Oliveira's army, though, does grow as his supply is falling as far as workers is concerned. As the game goes on, you don't need as many workers. Terran can rely on orbitals a bit. We see some creep getting cleared out. That is nice. You don't want to give the Zerg that free vision. And Oliveira's sandbagging of locations with turrets, with just all the static defense that he can, is really something to highlight in his play here. He's saying, no, if I just have my army out there, it will be crushed. It needs support. And so he throws up turrets quickly. I love to see it. He's now pivoting to the right. There's going to be potentially a nuke getting tossed on out here. Actually, a scan going to reveal that Infester will get killed. Is there a nuke? Looks like the answer is going to be not yet, as that Ghost running all over the place. We do see the Liberators being broken, as those turrets and libs cannot hold on themselves against all that Zerg. Oliveira, though, focusing on getting some work done down here, scanning all over the place, trying to make sure he knows exactly what he's attacking on into, and he's confident that he can. Vikings chasing away the Corruptors. Those drones are vulnerable. Liberators are set up. Overlords are even vulnerable now. As Serral gets a little bit supply blocked, he fires up 7 more Overlords, saying, I don't want to deal with that. 7 more Overlords, 11 more Corruptors to take control of the skies. Oliveira hasn't actually been mining that much in this game, though. Like, there's no workers at this base right now, so he needs to start dropping mules on it. He didn't mine that much from this location, so I'm a little bit concerned. So far, though, things are looking kind of close, I'll say. Like, a lot of Terrans would have died in this position, whereas Oliveira has been able to hold on. He has denied some of Serral's bases. Denying this base once more and continuously denying this is important. Yeah, look at this, though. No mining at this base, aside from 1 SCV. I feel like that could be a bit of a mistake from Oliveira. I don't know what his energy situation is on his orbitals, but I'd love to see some mules get dropped. A nuke's getting dropped as a Liberator is also shooting away on some of those drones, so we'll see if that Liberator pulls back or if Oliveira's going to nuke his own Liberator. Does he cancel it? Does he nuke it? Let's focus on the one mistake he makes this game, as he does nuke his own Liberator, as Serral takes the opportunity to attack on in. Oliveira is also attacking down south. However, it's a relatively fresh base for a base that hasn't mined that much for the Zerg. Oliveira's fleet in the skies is actually just massive, though. Beautiful Ghost splits, reducing the Baneling damage there. Also, the Greater Spire is now vulnerable, so that can actually be killed off. Oliveira's going to right-click on that, target that down. The Mass Liberator circles are on point. We also see a nuke get dropped in the middle of this. Serral's going to have to make sure he kills that off. Big parasitic bombs going off on the Liberators, though. Vikings can kite back. Liberators unsiege to try and help deal with the Corruptors. However, it's just so much Zerg, and Serral really is showing us just how much army he's able to bring forth onto Oliveira, as that location does get lifted off. Oliveira not having mined that much from this location. He's had his economy really cut out from under him. He's focused on trying to take this base, but hasn't been able to hold on to this one. And as a result, he really is running out of steam. He can make more Vikings, more Ghosts, maybe one more time, but he's down to 23 workers, so his eco's low. He's dropping a couple mules. But, yeah, the Terran really needs to bring everything he possibly can to the next fight, and it is possible that he takes a big fight, that he can snowball against Serral still, so that's why we're seeing him starting to push into the Zerg. Widowmines do go off, get some big connections, killing off a boatload of Lings. Serral does split most of them pretty good, but it looks like the Zerg is just spilling forward. There's not that much on the ground left to deal with what Serral has, and as this base, Oliveira finally dumped a bunch of mules into it, is not going to mine for long. The Corruptors come on in. Ghosts do snipe some of them. The Vikings have to split against the parasitic bombs, though. And even though Oliveira wins the air fight, the ground army is not looking too hot for him. The overall supply, he's down to 11 SCVs. And while we joke about how Terran doesn't need that many workers, Oliveira may need a few more workers than that. He at least needed this base up. As Serral is now saying, right, let's make some Big Daddy Ultralisks. He's getting ready to break the Zerg, or the Terran, pardon me. And yeah, Oliveira down to 100 supply. He's in a rough spot, and it's just not looking too good for him at this point. If he maintains control of the skies with his Liberators, maybe there's a chance, and he very well could, as he does still have quite a formidable air army. The Liberators can shoot away, however the Hydras come on in enough to deal with the Liberators, so then the Vikings are kind of just useless as the Banelings and Ghosts push on in, and Serral is able to take the game. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this cast, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. And if you do want to support this content, there is the YouTube membership program, which is actually pretty good. So you can check out the perks down below there using the join button. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.